Hey guys, it's Victoria here. I don't know why I always say that because
obviously
I'm obviously it's Victoria. Welcome back to another episode of Validated by Victoria. I have a special guest in studio. We've been hanging out all day looking at houses. My best friend Brittany.
Hello.
What is up, Brittany?
What's up?
I'm gonna pour some wine. Brittany, tell us a little bit about yourself because we've been friends for like we're like sisters, like soul sisters.
Long time, probably back in pageant days, like before high school, way back when.
I'm pouring some Chardonnay because we need this. It's been
a long day. The house searching is pretty stressful.
Yeah.
Very stressful.
Honestly, like I kind of feel like house hungover right now. So I think I told y'all maybe a couple of podcasts ago, or maybe not. I can't remember. My life just kind of like all runs together sometimes. But I told you guys that I am looking for a house. Brittany's my realtor. I think I said this on the last episode. She doesn't do residential, but she's doing it for me. So I appreciate that because she's the only person I trust.
Yeah, family and friends only.
Family and friends only, but she does commercial real estate. We'll get into that. But yeah, we've been doing that all day, and it's been a lot.
A long day. What, 6 different
I
locations?
took a nap.
Yeah.
I took a power nap before this. So now I feel hype. I took a turmeric shot on the way here. So like I'm pumped. I'm ready for this. I wanted to get Brittany in studio because we always talked about doing a podcast together.
We have been talking about doing a podcast before podcasts were a thing.
Yeah.
Like the dating chronicles of Brittany and Victoria.
Yeah. For real. Like we could probably have like a 10-hour podcast on the dating chronicles.
Maybe like half dating, half dateline.
dating and dateline. I'm dead. That could be like a newsletter, like a podcast.
A new thing.
Like, oh my gosh. But Brittany and I have known each other a long. Like,
cheers.
Oh yeah, we need to cheers this because I
cheers.
Cheers. Okay, Chardonnay, cheers.
Wait, but no, last year at this time, we actually both moved to Florida. I moved to the West Coast of Florida in Naples. Victoria moved to the East Coast in Boca. So we've got like dominated both
We're covering
sides.
the coast.
Yeah.
Coast to coast.
North Carolina coast to
T&G, coast to coast. So
T&G.
I'll let y'all in a little like insider secret. T&G means tits and grits.
Yep.
So if you ever see us use the hashtag when we post together T&G, we call ourselves tits and grits.
I can't believe you just told the secret.
But they have to listen to the podcast.
It's better because it's like incognito.
Well, they would have to listen to the podcast to find out the secret.
Okay, fair.
So
T&G, it's been T&G for a long time.
T&G for a
way back
long. That we were like
going on 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a long T&G ride.
Long time.
But we met like, during pageants. I remember that yellow Jamie Shaw swimsuit.
Oh yeah, the highlighter with the pink crystals. Way back when.
That was a vibe, guys. Pageantry brought us together.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina girls. 252.
Yep, 252, Eastern North Carolina. Then the honeybees.
Yep, the honeybees. I was going to say the honey hoes. I shouldn't say that.
No, not the honey hoes. We lived across the street from each other in Charlotte.
Oh, we tore Charlotte
Raleigh.
Up. Yeah.
And now Florida.
We're delinquents.
Yep.
We tore it up. Dirty martini days during the pandemic in Raleigh.
Yeah, sitting on the roof.
And then
concrete roof.
Wait, what was the place in Charlotte that we would go to? That we would tear it up? That's no longer. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, what's the name of it? It's upstairs.
The Epicenter.
Is it Candy Bar?
Epicenter. Candy Bar. Oh my gosh. If anyone's listening to this, like who knows?
Shout
like
out
old
to Candy Bar.
Candy Bar.
With the chandeliers.
Candy Bar was a vibe back then. Good times. All right, but Brittany, okay, we're all more professional now. I mean, we still go. We're actually gonna go out tonight.
We're refined, but it's been months. Like we only see each other now. Like every 2 months. Yeah. We're actually working now, so it's
I guess we're professionals now.
Yeah.
But Brittany does commercial real estate. Tell us about how you got into that.
Commercial real estate. Well, my family does land acquisitions, and we have a few developments in North Carolina. So I always would go to land auctions on Saturdays with my dad. That was our favorite pastime. And then I kind of just like working with mostly men. There's no emotions to it. It's like, I'm not playing therapist between I don't like the faucet or this fixture. It's like, you can't really go wrong with a warehouse because it's just not sexy. Like industrial is just not sexy. So
it could be a little sexy. I don't know.
I mean,
I love a good concrete pour.
Yeah, oof. Or a wood frame just really gets me going.
Smell of a wood frame.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, I mean, you're killing the game. Like you literally under a year, she's killing the game. I was taking a nap today, and like she was on the phone with another. Like you're just killing it. Like that, you woke me up, and you're like, here's another lead I got. I'm like, Well, shoot. So if you're looking for commercial property in Florida, hit Brittany up because she's
do office space, industrial warehouse, and do any type of investment property. Do it all, really.
The old men hit her up.
Yeah. I like I'm a male Pell and Stell.
Male Pell and Stell clientele.
That's my clientele.
Male
really
Pell Stell clientele. We love it.
That's it. There you
we
go.
love it.
My marketing degree coming into play right there.
I'm done. But she like covers Naples. Well, pretty much like
I do the whole state of Florida
Okay.
commercial,
Yeah.
but I could do residential in Naples. I could. Can. Yeah.
if you got that over 7-figure
Yeah,
price.
yeah.
That
It depends. The price point really changed my mind.
Yeah. I mean, it would for me too.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, yeah. But Brittany's got a unique, we got the professional side, but Brittany has like a really awesome story. Something else that bonded us together is we were both Duke University hospital patients.
Trauma patients.
We're just, we have like a trauma bond. Honestly.
We do. No, and our brothers are both police officers.
Yeah.
Both of our mothers are named Denise. You know, it's like, it's so many overlapping things. Our dads are they're carbon copies of each other.
We literally have like a carbon copy kind of life.
Yeah.
It was very odd.
It is.
It's like I got sick and then like a year later, like you got sick.
Wait, no, but go back to when you got sick. Remember we were at practice and I'm like, Victoria. You're like, Victoria, look over here. You're like, what? I can't hear you. Like my ears are ringing. I'm like, go get your hearing checked. I got like mad because I thought you weren't listening to me.
Yeah, I mean, you were one of the first people to be like, yo, there's something up with you.
I'm like, hello, over here.
Because I was just in my own little world. I was partying hard. And then I, just didn't really think anything of it. And I remember you pointed that out. So
Yeah, I'm like, why are you not listening to me?
Why are you not listening to me? I'm just
can't
deaf.
hear. No, but you said you had like a buzzing in your ear for a long
I
time.
still do right now. Now I can hear my tinnitus going off in my ears.
Tinnitus.
You have like, if you don't think about it, you don't hear it. But
Yeah.
once you start talking about it, and I'm like, crap, I can hear it in this headphone right
Yeah.
now. But yeah, you were like one of the first people to tell me. But then you got sick. Like, tell us a little bit about your story.
It was like 2 years
I don't even want to talk about it.
It was 2 years later after you got sick.
Yeah.
And
Crazy.
just didn't feel very good. And I looked 6 months pregnant. My fingers were purple. My nose was purple. I go home. My mom thinks I'm pregnant, which I wasn't. And she's like,
Oh, Denise.
Yeah, of course. She's like, you just drive yourself to the hospital. Then I'm like, all right, fine. So I go, pass out. They give me an IV. And then, like, I wake up and there's like 9 different white coats looking at me. And I'm like, what's going on? They're like, you have advanced heart failure. Meanwhile, I was still dancing in the NBA. I was still doing, graduate school. I just finished graduate school and all that. Yeah, and it was so weird. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm good. Like, I acted like I had a headache or something. Yeah, and then they said, like, 4 to 6 months later, you'll be fine. You just take this medication. Well, I was sleeping 20 hours a day, not eating anything solid, blue Jell-O, ice chips. And then after 6 months, my dad was like, Brittany, you won't go shopping. You won't go to dinner. You were not eating. Like, we got to fix this. So that's when I went to Duke, where Victoria went, and they did a right and left heart cath and said that I had advanced heart failure. I had 6 months to live, and my heart function was at 15%. And they're going to put me on the heart transplant list. So then 6 or 7 weeks later, I got the call.
I remember when you after you had all that and you had to walk around like that purse thing.
Yeah. Like after
You're like, this is what keeps me alive.
Yeah. They put the Milrinone like through it was a 33 centimeter PICC line in my arm. So it pumped my heart for me while I was on the transplant list.
We were like out in Raleigh and she had this like
I put my lipstick in my Milrinone pack, my medicine pack. I was rocking it.
But how do you feel when they like told you? Because like when I remember when they told me like, oh, you have a tumor, and then they're like, oh, it's spreading, by the way. I'm like, ha ha ha. Like, I don't,
like
bedside
surreal.
manner of doctors is very interesting, for one. And then 2, you're just like, this is a nightmare.
I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm still in denial, honestly.
Yeah.
It happened so fast. And then like you get through it, and then after your process, and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? What happened? What actually just happened?
I mean,
it's crazy.
Insane. And then you went through your heart transplant. I mean, they took a saw to your chest. Like,
yeah, they
we
cracked your
be like,
sternum.
yeah.
That was news to me until after the thing, so I'm glad I didn't look up anything.
Yeah.
That's like, if anyone ever gets sick, this is future reference for anyone. Don't look up anything on YouTube until after it's over.
Oh, I did.
Don't do it.
I went on like WebMD, like the things like you should not do, and it was just like death. And
Don't
I'm
do
like,
it.
oh, great.
Because everything you read, you're going to die. Well, you're going to die. You're going to die. If you don't take your medicine, you're going to die.
You can have like a headache and be like, you're going to die.
And you can also self-diagnose. I feel like a lot of people do that. You know?
Yeah. But then you drive yourself insane. That kind of happened to me. I was just in a deep dark hole because I read everything. I was reading studies about it. I'm like, why I'm not a doctor. Like, first of all, I shouldn't be doing
First of all, you're not a doctor.
Definitely the furthest thing away from a doctor.
Yeah.
So crazy. When you like, how long did it, I forget like how long it takes for you to heal? I feel like now.
Oh yeah. Well, after you get the heart, they're like, you have a match, and they do like, my surgeon was like, he wanted to look and see how it felt, how it looked. Like everything has to, it's a divine process because it has to be so perfect to match. And then my heart's only 16. So you're really only supposed to get an organ that's 5 years older or younger than your natural age. So my heart's 10 years younger than me. So it's all a blessing. And that's based off the size of your body cavity. So it's just
she's
a whole
teeny
different world.
Tiny.
I'm a pretty short person. Yeah. I'm fun sized.
Tits and grits.
Yeah. Fun sized.
Fun sized version.
Yeah. And then after that, they say, well, we don't really know if it's going to work or take for another year. I'm like, what? It's already in now, so I just have to wait. So then after a year, they test, they take a piece of your heart, like a biopsy every 2 weeks.
I remember you would go in and be like, it's so painful.
Oh my gosh, it's like a wire.
You still have to do that?
No, not anymore. They do like a blood test, but that was like the first year. And then the lovely COVID hit. So it's like, all right, you didn't die from the heart transplant, but everyone you meet might kill you now because I'm immunosuppressed. So
it was just like one thing.
It was one thing after
another.
another. Yeah,
one thing after another.
Super weird. And then finally, the lawsuit ended. So I was like, good times. I moved to Florida.
He who shall not be named. Oh yeah, fun. And then moved
the
to
source
Florida.
and reason of the heart transplant. Yeah.
Lord, we'll just call him Voldemort. Voldemort is the one who
caused.
I mean, hey, I didn't sign an NDA. Voldemort's the one who caused your heart transplant. You had what was it called? Like you know
it's called Takotsubo cardiomyopathy. It's broken heart syndrome.
She had broken heart syndrome. People, and you know one thing that pissed me off.
Myth. They don't think it's real.
Pissed me off every time. They're like, that's not real. Like, okay, I saw you go through it. Like,
yeah,
you went through it. It's real, and so that's like that would piss me off. But if y'all don't know what it is, just Google it.
It's interesting. It's like where stress hormones attack your left ventricle swells so much you go into complete organ failure. So yeah, stress will kill you. That's
freaking
fun fact of the day. Yeah,
intense. Or super. A man could kill you.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
Voldemort. We'll just call him that. Yeah. But now you're like living your best life in Naples.
I am. I really am.
How many times have you had a blue martini without me?
Not that often. I really work all the time.
I feel that. I work like too much.
Yeah.
I feel like now I've like turned my partying into being a workaholic. But tonight we're changing that. We're gonna have a little drinky drink. Yep. We're gonna have some sushi next to our yakitori. And then shout out yakitori. I don't know, sponsor me because I do love your sushi. And maybe hit up Palm Beach or something. I don't know. We're trying to we just
wing it. That's how we do it. We will hang out like a whole weekend. We might not talk for like 4 straight hours. We'll just look at each other. Like we're companions.
We're very much companions. Our dogs are the same way. They don't like touch each other. They don't hang out.
They don't really.
But I can tell they're friends.
They like coexist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you've done story. Okay, well, I want to go back to the heart transplant because you have an inspiring story, and I know we kind of like laugh and joke, but it was really.
That's because we have really dark sense of humor.
Yeah,
that's
honestly,
the only way
I can only laugh
anything.
about everything. I'm like, like tube down my throat.
I mean, it's like life or death. You know,
they
say you have 6 months, and I'm like, to do what? They're like to live. I'm like, okay, well. More dark humor, here it comes.
Yeah, it's like when they tell you, like I was talking about earlier, like just all you can do is laugh because you don't know what else to do.
You don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going to happen. Then I'd say dark humor, but also it's like a levitating experience. I felt like I was like surrounded by prayers. There's no way that it wasn't something that was meant to be or a divine process because it was so intense but very peaceful at the same time.
Yeah. And now how often do you go back to do?
Every 6 months. Yeah. So it's like a life sentence. And then I still take, 42 pills a day. 42 pills a day. And, when I went for my pre-evaluation for my heart transplant, the first person that comes in the room is the finance department. Like, okay, so if you don't have health insurance, like, well, you're just going to die.
Isn't that insane?
It was $1.5 million for a heart. So if anyone ever asks you what a life costs, that's exactly what it costs. $1.5 million.
Like, how much is your life worth?
Yeah, like
at
how
least
much is
1.5 million.
Least, like minimum 1.5
I don't even
million.
know how much my brain tumor thing it was. I just didn't even want to look at it because I just don't even want to know. Like, luckily
Yeah.
I had I was like still on my dad's insurance.
Yeah.
So, like, we're still on our parents' insurance at the time. Like,
Yeah.
honestly,
But that's a blessing too.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Like, I don't want to say we
26.
lucked out getting sick
No.
like under 26,
But things could always be worse.
Yeah.
Always. So
like, I don't even know how a normal person would be able to go through.
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I
don't
like,
know.
you know, an adult.
But the thing is, once you go through something like that, you're like a magnet for tragedy. Like I
Yeah.
hear so many stories and people are like, well, if she went through a heart transplant, like, you know, my divorce isn't that bad, or like my, you know, abuse wasn't that bad. But it's all bad. All of it's
Yeah.
bad. It makes there's no excuse for anything that happens that's bad to you.
No. And I totally agree. People were like, oh, I don't want to tell you my story because it's not as half as bad as yours. But I was like,
Tell me.
yeah, just tell me because
Yeah.
everyone's got their own unique trauma,
Yeah.
their own unique story that makes them you.
Yeah.
And
everything everyone processes
Their
things
cat could have died,
differently.
and it could be on the same level
and
as-
it could hurt as much as
Yeah.
you know, a broken engagement or
Yeah.
you know, whatever.
Yeah. So I always am like, no, everyone's story is unique to them.
Yeah.
So I try not to compare and contrast because everyone reacts to things differently.
Totally agree.
I mean, the worst trauma like I had ever dealt with beforehand was like, I don't even know, like maybe having a cold. So like but I never
Yeah.
like had anything like extremely bad happen. Like maybe a breakup. I think
Yeah.
that was the worst thing. And I was like, oh, so much trauma from that. And then like my trauma changed when this
Yeah.
happened. And
Well, everyone says that each person has a bring you to your knees moment. Like, you know, you just begging for mercy. Like, please just alleviate some of this from
Yeah.
me. And I think we just had ours really early.
yeah.
And we just maybe turned us into kind of cynical, but also like maybe wise.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still learning a lot.
Yeah. No.
Still learning a lot, and I'm not there yet. But
That's the
I'm a lot
secret
better
of
than I
life,
was.
Though. No, that is though. But you're like
Yeah.
continue. If you're learning all the time, like you're not ever complacent.
I mean, that's the truth. That's the truth. Well, so if there's been people who've reached out and they like really admire your story. Like people message me and they're like, Brittany's such a warrior. And they'll make me.
You're like,
She laughs.
yeah. If you
are.
only knew how dark her humor was.
She laughed. Yeah, like Brittany's such a warrior. I mean, you started working with American Heart Association. Like, what do you plan to do? Are you going to plan to like maybe speak somewhere about it?
Yeah. I'm
volunteer more.
Yeah, volunteer more, just raise awareness, doing stuff like this. Honestly,
I feel like you're at a good point in your life
Yeah.
now where you're kind of. I wouldn't say you're completely healed from it because
I'm
I feel like
resolved.
whenever,
I'm like I can't change it. I've
Yeah.
accepted it.
Yeah.
It happened, and it's like I don't really know what the reason was. I might not ever know why it happened
Yeah.
or had to happen, but whatever it is, if it helps one person, then it was, I guess, worth it.
I feel like you're more at peace with it now.
Yeah.
That's like with my situation. I mean, still I'm a little raw from my mom, but
Yeah,
I'm still
no.
more at peace with my brain tumor stuff. I
It
was
took
still
a
very
long
angry.
time, though, but you and I will sit sometimes, and it will just like come out of nowhere.
Yeah, we'll both get angry, and we're
Yeah.
just like so angry at the world. But like that's just normal.
Yeah.
And I would get like angry at myself. Like it's just a cycle, and you can't
Yeah.
be like, oh, I need to be perfect. Like people say to me, they're like, oh my gosh, you healed so quickly. Especially after my mom's passing, they're like, oh, like we're so proud of you. You're doing it. I'm like, dude, y'all don't even know. Like I don't post everything on Instagram. Like y'all don't know like some things I go through, and I'm like beating myself up. Like I mean, there's a cycle that
Yeah.
goes on behind the veil of social media.
Oh my gosh.
Behind the veil of any social gathering.
Yeah.
You got to keep it together. I just know my mom would want me to keep it together, and like
Yeah.
you know, you keep it together well too. But then
Oh, yeah.
between me and her, like because she's one of my like closest friends, like I'll break down,
Yeah.
and it's okay.
But that's okay. But like,
Yeah.
I remember the first therapist, like before they let you find out who your donor is, which I still haven't done it because I'm obviously not that resolved with it.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of negative feedback. People are like, you owe it to your donor's family. You owe it to them. I mean, I think that's personal. I think that's
Yeah.
like, there's so many layers of strange weirdness of this to me.
Like your mom is the only mom, honestly, I can hang around. Like because I can't hang around other people's moms, and people think it's so rude. Like
Yeah.
I remember I was like kind of talking to a guy, and his mom came to like something he was at, and I was like, I have to walk away, and he was like, that is so rude. Like, and I'm like, bro, my mom like just
No.
passed away. Like that's raw to me.
You can't tell somebody what they're supposed to feel.
No,
Like,
and
that's
then
what-
you can't tell someone to be like, hey, I want to know that. Like I
Yeah.
can't. I'm still very like touchy about being around mothers, and there's only like a select people. Like I won't even see like my sister-in-law's mom. Like I
Yeah.
don't even want to be around moms.
It doesn't feel fair. It feels like you
No.
got gypped, you know?
Yeah, and then like same for you. Like
Yeah.
it feels like you got
when
jip.
people are like, you know what, it's a blessing. Like, at least you're here. I'm like, yeah, thank
you get,
God
like,
I am here. But like the hardest thing that recently was I had my 6-month appointment, and they're like, you're not going to be able to have children. I'm like,
oh my gosh, I remember that.
Oh my God, I could not get it together for like a week and a half. Like, I just cried and cried and cried and cried. Not saying I have a timetable. I'm not married. I don't know when I'm going to have children, but to be taken away from that option, it's like, it's unreal. And like the doctor's like, well, at least you're here. I'm like, but if you don't have the quality of life of what you've expected and what you've worked for it, and like, I've made decisions my whole life to be a good mother.
Yeah.
But now I'm not going to get to be one.
Yeah.
They're like, well, you know, you just adopt. I'm like, I think adopting is great, and I will do that. But that initial like shock of you can't do something that you've always wanted to do, well, it shakes you.
No, and people just, you know, people can't tell you how to feel. Like, doctors have the worst. But no
They
offense,
do.
I
love
I love my surgeons.
They have
love
the
my doctors.
worst bedside manner.
But like the stale way they say things, and I guess they have to have like no emotion in that game.
But
and
they're
I feel
so desensitized.
Yeah.
Like, I go and I do contracts and I meet with people all day. This guy who did my heart, he rebirths people. He gives people a whole lease on life. Like, that's his normal. So when he's talking to me, yes, it's life or death for me, but it's like brushing his teeth to him.
Yeah.
And I don't understand.
I would love to have like a surgeon on here and just pick their
my
brain,
gosh,
because
me
like
too.
I just don't know how they operate, like their mind. I mean, you have to be very detached. Because I remember my mom was a nurse, and she was telling me how like hard, like that's why she kind of left the profession. My mom was such like an empath and like would feel and like had very connection.
Home with you too.
Yeah, and she was like my last patient. I remember I got so close to him, and then he passed away, and like passed away when she wasn't there, and she like was heartbroken, and then she was like, this is just not for me. So like the people who do that, kudos to them, but like we're the patients, and we're like, sometimes I'm like,
he was like, well, you know, you just can't have children. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
They're like, you just got to take these 42 pills a day. I'm like, what? I don't want to take that many pills a day.
He's just so used to it.
Yeah,
it's like his
casual
routine.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so if you had any advice for someone like going through something traumatic, what would you say?
Like, my new perspective on life is like, I do this day, and then it's like, I don't think about it again. Like, I'm just looking forward to the next day, and I just take it one day at a time. I don't make any 5-year plans, 10-year plans. I'm like, all right, we make it to the end of this day, then we'll worry about tomorrow. That's like with anything.
I like that.
Day to day.
Take
like,
it day by day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, your only goal is to survive that day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you go to sleep, it's like, all right, cool. Like, I made it. On to the next one.
No, I totally agree. I think my advice is just, you know, live life how the way you want it.
Yeah, do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Life's
Life is
too
so
short. My mom's like, you act like no offense, like late 50s, like 3 times divorced. I'm like, I'm not jaded. I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't really care about it, you know.
No. I mean, you kind of get that
People
attitude
take
when you
it
go
so
something
serious.
severely traumatic. I mean, I do take life still a little too seriously sometimes, but I feel like I've pulled back a little bit, and I'm just taking it day by day.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'm like, you know what? Like when I quit my job, I was like, that's not what I want to do.
All right.
On to the next.
Yeah.
Bye.
That's like people, I was talking to a broker today on the phone, and he was like, yeah, I've been trying to get to Florida for like 5 or 6 years. I'm like, it took you 5 or 6 years?
To make that. I remember you were like, I want to go to Florida.
I was like, I'm moving to Florida. I got the job.
Week.
I heard my dad tell my mom, like, she'll never move. She'll never move to North Carolina. 2 weeks later, I was down here. Like, you're not going to tell me I can't do something. Life's just too short.
No, but I honestly, if we didn't go through that trauma, we would probably be like that 5-year person too.
I would be like the 10-year person.
Yeah, we'd be like, oh, I want to move here. And then you're like 50 years old, and you're like, oh, I finally moved here. Well, I mean, honestly, the 55 plus communities here is like baller.
It's lit.
It's baller. Like sometimes I'm like,
they're
dang.
so happy. They're so reserved. They're going happy hour at 2 o'clock. I love it.
And they have like the nicest spots. Like, so when I was looking at houses, sorry, we're doing a deep, hardcore transition, like pivot. But like when I was looking at houses, I was like, I would find something. I'm like, dang, this is a great deal. Like, look at all the amenities. Like, I want to live here.
It's a 55 and up.
And then Brittany would be like, it's the 55 plus though. And I'm like, I'm just going to identify as a 55 plus person.
Yeah,
because
why not?
like,
I've got 55 years of like wisdom and experience. Why not?
I'm pretty much, I feel like I'm a 60-year-old right now in a late 20s. I'm not even revealing my age right now. Everyone can look it up, but like late 20s body. But yeah, this 55 plus community slap. So honestly, now I have something to look forward to in Florida because when I'm 55 plus, I can join those communities and have a blast.
Yep. They're like little colleges.
Yeah, no, like they have so many amenities and you're just balling out there.
Dog parks, like mixers. It's pretty fun.
Like I want to be 55 plus here. So I'm loving Florida, and I'm not glad we went through the same trauma, but it's nice to have someone. This sounds
People
weird.
are always like, why? Like, how are you guys such good friends? I'm like, well, we're like trauma bonded together.
Yeah,
we both went through each other's experiences.
Yeah, very different experiences, but very similar experiences. And I feel like we have a deeper meaning of life and self and love and
all the above.
All the above.
We get these really, really deep rabbit hole conversations like this.
We do. So, but to pivot, I always talk about things that are valid and serious, and I like to tell people stories on here, but I also like to talk about dating. I also like to talk about relationships. I also like to talk about random shit on this podcast because you got to be like my life. I feel like both of us, we're serious but funny. Yeah. Like, we're just kind of a goofball at times, but then we get like super serious, and that's just kind of what this podcast emulates.
It's just balance.
It's just a good balance. And you feel validated after you're done listening and you're like, dang, okay, I can do something.
I feel heard.
I feel heard. I feel listened to. I feel heard. All right. So we're going to talk about dating. So we moved to Florida.
Yikes.
I mean, first of all, let's talk about dating history. Not so hot. I feel like both of us, not so hot.
I think I have like narcissist, like sucker or something on my forehead. Like I attract them. They love me.
Get like a balloon. Like they find you and they're like, I find you. I got
your life. You're the one. I've chased you now. Succumb to my evil ways.
I just get like that crazy drug addict ones. I'm going to take a drink for them.
Oh, no. Mine are just like pathological, sociopathic.
I might need a refill on this.
Sociopathic.
We need a refill for
these are really, really deep topics.
I mean, we've talked about heart transplant. We talked about buying a house. How we wish we were a little older.
No, I'm a good age.
You
keep your old age. I'm good.
Hey.
Easy
there, Tiger. All right. So we won't go into like a deep dive on dating history because we just need to leave the past in the past. Leave shit where it lies. Just going to say. But moving to Florida and dating, it's a very interesting experience. We've been on a lot of dates respectively, individually.
Yeah.
We've been on some group dates together. Remember that one time when the guy like asked me, like we were both on a dating app in Charlotte and remember him?
Oh, yes. Oh, my God, he's not listening.
We'll just call him. No, he probably, who knows? I say that. And then the guy I was like, he listened to the podcast. He's like, oh, you mentioned me. And I'm like,
Did I? I'm so sorry.
I was like, I think I mentioned my brother, not you.
Oh my God.
And he's like, yeah, no, it was me. And I'm like, yeah, it was. But
we go through these waves from like, she would download a dating app. And then I'm like, all right, well, I will too, see what's left.
Remember when we like sat next to each other on your mom's couch and we're like, let's see if we get the same matches. First of all, mine were horrible. Hers were like better. And then there was like a guy I was talking to. He like hit you up. And I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah, are you serious?
Like, she's not going to tell me. Like, that's one thing I can't stand.
We were in Charlotte and we were both sitting there and I was like, this guy, I've been talking to him, he's so cute, he's like tall, dark, and handsome with blue eyes. You're like, really? What's his name? And it was a very strange name.
Oh my God, it was a very strange name.
I can't say it.
We'll call him strange name.
So then strange name pops up on Victoria's and I'm like, really? Seriously? I've been talking to him for a few weeks. I'm like, start texting him, like message him back. And then he keeps messaging her. Yeah, so I'm like, you know what? I'm supposed to meet him soon. You're supposed to meet him soon. I call him. I'm like, why don't, I'm sitting here with my friend Victoria. Mind you, we're both honeybees dancing on the same team at the time, so why wouldn't you know that? And he freaked out. Did he not?
I know. He got nervous, and we're like, you can take us on a group date.
I was like, look, I'm being so casual. I would rather go on a date with Victoria and a guy. Like, it's like both win-win. Like, my best friend, like, prospect. But then I was like, you know what? Here's my thing. We should just all three go to dinner, and then after dinner, whichever one you like no harm, no foul, whichever one you like better, you can go on a second date with. He flipped.
I remember
he was
that.
so like disturbed by this. And I'm like, I think it's brilliant. Like, there's no bad, like hard feelings.
No.
Like, whatever, teach his own. But
'Cause, like,
he didn't like the idea.
Honestly, we were open about that. And I talked about this on the live pod, and I always talk about this dating experience because, like, I guess me and my friend, like a new friend, matched with this guy on Hinge, but then she like went behind my back and went on a date with him.
Okay, that's different.
Yeah, but like
we're transparent about it.
I was just fully transparent. I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay. Like, hey,
I thought it was funny.
If you match with me and my friend and like, you want to go on a date?
He didn't do his due diligence. Like, he knew better.
So, men, if you're on a dating app and like you match with someone and you match with someone knowing they're their friend, like he had to know we were friends. Like, there was just no
denying it.
The girls are gonna talk.
Girls are gonna talk, especially if they're on the same team. We spent every single day together. We lived across the street from each other.
Yeah, literally, we lived across the street. Like, I would see her, like, if he was taking her home, like with the free, or she would see me taking. Like,
I'm not quite sure like where he went wrong with that, but
I mean, guys still do that, and I think that's so like you got men in their 30s still do that. They like match with friends.
Okay, this was early 20s, so it's like a little bit more okay, but 30s,
now no, I mean, I still
okay.
like just move. Okay, but moving to Florida is like you get a lot of so you Google like man in Florida does that, like you get like a whole array of stuff.
It doesn't
on
have
Google.
to be a Florida thing. I Google like what man does in anything.
I know, but I feel like everyone's just kind of moved to Florida, so you have like everyone and anyone from the United States here in Florida right now, and it's kind of a mess. I mean, I can't be talking much because we moved here, but I feel like we're part of the same group. Yeah. We're part of the cool people group, and then you have like these just crazy men, and they do the same thing. They try to date your friend and they don't think you taught. And they're like, it's like men in their 40s here. They're like, or at least
there is no age cap here. Like, I'm not trying to throw Florida under the bus, but the sugar daddy, baby presence environment here is like next level. Very disturbing. Like,
I'm glad the old man left the studio right now.
Okay, there's like older men outside watching us. Like, as we do this, I'm just saying.
They just pounded outside.
Yeah, like what? They're like, we'll see you later at Blue Martini.
I love the cute little white dog. He's showing us his dog right now. Sorry, guys, you can't see.
Yeah, sorry, but you can't trick me.
But the sugar daddies, like, this is what I want to talk about last, like, on the
We were talking at lunch, like, is this acceptable to talk about? But, like, if they're bold enough to go out with their 18-year-old friend, girlfriend, whatever, then, it's free game.
Yeah.
Sorry, we can talk about it.
I mean, it's so prevalent here. But, I mean, I see why girls do it because I'm just gonna give this.
Florida is expensive. Cost of living.
Okay, yeah, that. But second of all, like I was like hanging out with this like 40-year-old or this 38-year-old guy, and he's like, "Yeah, settle down till I'm 41." I'm like,
"You better before you lose all your hair."
Yeah, like what is that? Like, but I feel like that's just a because he's like in Miami. Miami men are just different here in Florida.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's so different. Like when my dad came down for like 2 weeks. Every single time we went to dinner, he would tell the waitress, he's like, and my daughter wants.
I know, my dad does that too. Like, it's when you're on father-daughter dates, it's like, this is my daughter. I'm like, hey, Dad. Sometimes I will do that too, just like, be like, hey, Dad. And I'll say it like really loud because people just assume.
Not Daddy, Dad.
Ew, yeah. I can't call my dad Daddy anymore.
No. Thanks, Florida. You ruined it for me.
I'll call him Pops, honestly. Yeah, no, Florida's ruined, like, Dad, the father. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, Dad, I don't even know if I want to go out to dinner. Yeah. It's so rude. But I'm like, people are going to think, but I mean, who the fuck cares? But down here is just so.
It's a wild west. That's what I call Florida.
I've never seen Sugar Daddy Nation so hard here.
Something people don't talk about.
No, people are like scared to talk about.
Yeah.
Scared to talk about it.
I will talk about it.
Sometimes I'll like do I don't want to call it bartending because God, I'm the worst bartender known to man. But sometimes I'll do these gigs where it's like, you serve drinks or something. I don't know, because you meet people, you network. I'm still new here. I don't care. Yeah. I'll say it as is. Like you gotta hustle, you gotta work. I hustle, work, network. I like making a coin. Yeah. In a coin. In a healthy way.
Just one coin.
In a healthy, non take off your clothes kind of way.
Yeah.
But I was like doing on this like guy's yacht, like serving drinks, and he's just like, don't post any pictures. I don't want like
my other sugar babies to find out.
No, it was literally that, and I'm like, what?
It's weird. It's super weird.
And I was like, first of all, I don't want to post pics, but second of all, like, what?
It's weird. I'm telling you, it's so strange.
And they're like, the men here just like crave sugar babies.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm like, sorry, I already went to college. I don't need any tuition paid. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, Biden just paid back tuition.
Yeah, sure. Team no student debt. Thank God.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Same. Team no student debt, scholarship money. But I mean, this is a sugar baby
These
pandemic.
are the things
down
like we
here.
really just talk about, which, you know, if like you need a little allowance money, like that's nice. Like whatever you need to survive. I'm not judging.
I don't judge.
It's just so
as long as you're open about it, I don't judge. Like if you try to hide it and you're posting in freaking Dubai.
Well, it's the girl. Okay, sorry. Let me have my Instagram kick real quick. It's the girls that go to Dubai or like they're obviously unemployed. Like they're posting, you know, Fendi and Chanel and all this. And I'm like, who owns the boat you're on? Just curious. Like I know
we'll
you
never
don't.
know. We'll never know.
Team no face.
But I will let you know there is a sugar daddy referral program down here.
What?
So you don't even have to get in seeking. If you just make friends, they try to refer you out to sugar daddies.
God. No, thank you.
I mean, I've already tried to been referred out, and I was like, this may be interesting, and then I'm like, this is weird. I can't do it.
Maybe that's an East Coast thing. That's not on the West Coast, or not that I know of in Naples. I could be proved wrong. I mean, there probably is.
It's an undercover network. It's almost like the Illuminati of sugar daddies.
Oh my God, stop. That's terrible.
There's an Illuminati of sugar daddy network down here in Florida and on the West Coast too, where it's like a referral program, and I just know the inside because I was just so curious because I'm like, how do these girls maintain this lifestyle? And then we talked about this. How do these girls maintain this lifestyle in Florida?
Yeah,
because the cost of living here is just skyrocketing. It's almost like LA.
Yeah.
And I know some friends. I'm like, they don't. I mean, I'm hustling to work, and sometimes I'm like, I can't go afford a Chanel.
I did one like talent appearance with this girl. She's got a Rolex on. Like she lives in Brickell, like top floor in Miami. And I'm like,
there ain't no way they're making that with the bartending money. I'm sorry.
I'm like, where are you from? She's like, Fayetteville. I'm like, you're from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Like, what brought you down here? She's like, I met someone online and moved down here. She's like, I get like an allowance. I'm like, what do you have to do for that allowance? Because I'm just like curious, George.
Oh.
And she was like, well, stuff here and there. I'm like, I don't know what you mean here and there. Like, I need more details. And she told me some stuff like I can't unhear.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm like,
people are like, we just have to go on a companion date, and I'm like,
what's a companion?
I don't know.
You're my companion. Like,
I was like,
that means.
I think it's just like me and Brittany hanging out. Nah, there's a little more to that. We already know.
Well, you pay for my dinner, I pay for you. Like,
but that's different.
Yeah,
that's different. We're talking about a little extra.
Yeah, I don't do none of that.
Like,
no thanks.
I don't know how.
So these are just like some Eastern North Carolina redneck girls that are like discovering the wild world of Florida.
I know. I mean, I've heard of sugar daddies. I've never really realized, you go on Seeking or whatever. I've heard all those apps, like Millionaire Match, like whatever, but I think all those are fake. I think it's the Illuminati sugar daddy.
No, this is my public service announcements for anyone that you see that's living large in Miami. They're completely sponsored.
Oh, yeah. But I will say there's some influencers, there's some female bosses out there. Yeah. Like, I mean, we're not sponsored.
Not sponsored. We're just working, just struggling and working.
We're just working our asses off. Yeah. I have a couple gray hairs now. Someone just the hair, like my makeup artist the other day, like plucked them out. I'm scared I'm gonna grow like 10 more. She was like, "That's a myth," and I'm like, I earned these gray hairs. I'm not gonna
it's
lie.
wisdom. What do you mean?
I got some wisdom in my head. But I wanted to talk about sugar daddy because I wanted to talk about it on the live, but I saw some sugar daddy people in the audience. I was like, I shouldn't insult anyone.
No, I told her today. We talked about it. I'm like, you should, like, bring awareness.
But like, have you been on the dating apps here?
Yeah.
Honestly, I would date an older man.
Yeah, of course. Like,
but
a tad bit older because like mentally I'm 60, my heart's 16, but like my natural age is 28. So I'm all types of confused. So like round up, I feel like I'm like in my 40s.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind an older man, but we're still just independent ladies. But we do like a man to take care of us. But I'm not trying to do like all that. I don't need to do. I like
traditional rules, but like don't tell me what to do.
No, I don't want to do.
I want to work.
But like, it's the referral program. Like, if y'all want to know the inside scoop about getting a sugar daddy, and if that's like your real like heart desire, like you gotta make some girlfriends. You gotta go out on the scene, and then they'll like, hey, I don't know if this is your thing. Hey, girly, I don't know if this is your thing.
It scares me.
But like, I have this guy, like, blah 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 blah. A lot of them are married too, but I'm not even going to get into that.
I'm not even going to get into that. Karma. You don't want to be part of that.
But there is it's a sugar daddy referral program, and
what's the referral fee?
I mean, it's like pimping out. They get paid because like I had this one. Yeah, no, I had this one man. He's like really like trying to get me to find him someone because like I won't be a sugar baby or whatever because I'm like, this is too weird. And he's like trying to get me to find someone. He's like, I'll pay you like X amount.
What?
And I'm like, you know what? I'd rather just make that myself.
That's concerning.
No, it's concerning.
Okay, but I need someone in the men audience. Like, well, what? Maybe they don't think that they're that old, or they're not quite aware, or I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know. I think a lot of older men like don't understand. I think that maybe that was bad. I like smiled nervously and looked at the camera. I don't want to hate, but like I just
I feel like a lot of people.
There's a
male
lot of people
or female. You lack
gift giving is
self-awareness.
someone's gift. There's a lot of people who have gift giving as their
love language.
Love language. Yeah, I totally slipped my mind.
Yeah.
That's their love language. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad always buys clothes.
It.
Like that's how
acts of service, like gift giving. That's their love language. So I'm not gonna hate on it. Like if you want a sugar baby, if you're an older man listening to this, you want a sugar baby, go for it. Like heck yeah. But just know like 90% of the time they're using you. I just want to let you know it's not true love.
Aww.
There's some people though. Like I know some girls who date older men. It was a very sugar baby, sugar daddy relationship,
and then it evolved.
Then it evolved.
That's like an arranged marriage. It just happens, and then like it
just happens. But you got to go into it because like now, you know, since my mom passed, my dad's like single, and I know about this referral program. I know this.
We're
whole
not letting
daddy.
him date. Sorry,
no,
he's not.
I already told him.
Date.
I like cried and like I got angry, and I was like, Dad, you can just go on dates with me. Like I can be your companion. Like if you just need someone to hang out with, like, yo,
we're not having no stepmom up in here
because girl, like. Men are ruthless, women are ruthless. Like, there's just a lot of bad people in this world. And I'm like, Dad, people are just going to use you and abuse you. Like, especially at your age.
Stop.
No, I felt bad. But my brother and I said the same. I love my dad and I want complete happiness for him, but I don't think happiness is going to be another woman.
He just likes to work.
Yeah. I'm turning into my father, though.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you might be turning to your dad too, because your dad likes to work. My dad likes to work. We're just like our fathers.
It becomes your identity.
And I'm like, I used to hate on my dad so much for that. And then I'm like, wow.
But that's like what fulfills me. It makes me feel like accomplished. So.
I feel like at the end of the day, if we have something to our name and that we're successful in our own right.
If you have something to your own name, no one can take it away from you. It's like my education. Like nobody can take my master's from me.
No one can take my Juris Doctorate from me. No one can take your wild success in commercial real estate. No one can take my success away. Yeah. Like that's stuff I made myself, not my dad, not a sugar dad, not anyone. That's self-made.
Yeah.
And then we could pass it on to our children.
That is not the path of least resistance though.
It's hard. People are like, oh, I want your glamorous life. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it looks glamorous on social media, but you know, I work myself to death. Sometimes I'll stay up till like 3 a.m. working, and it's a struggle. Yeah. And so I get what, you know, I've thought about like being part of the Illuminati sugar daddy program. And I'm like, dang, wouldn't it be nice not to grow like 5 more gray hairs like I have on my head already? And I was like, you know what?
I like it.
You know, I do like a good gray hair.
It's like painful. No, I'm saying like the process. The grind is not glamorous.
Because when you actually get what you worked so hard for, it's so rewarding.
Much more satisfying.
Honestly, it's honestly better than an orgasm.
Yeah. I don't know about all that. I don't talk about those kinds of things, but I do know my first commission check like made me feel some type of way.
Better than sex?
It was like an adrenaline high. I don't talk about stuff like that. I'm a lady. But back to my commission check.
Yeah, it's like when you get that commission check, when you find that success and you just run on that high.
Yeah, it is.
And you feel so good because you're like, hey, I did that myself.
Yeah, and
I didn't have no man behind me. I hustled so hard. And there's nothing wrong with having a man behind you. But for me and you, I know when we do something ourselves, we feel so fulfilled.
I also feel like once I had the heart transplant, it's like, that really sucked. So like whatever else comes, it's going to be super easy compared to that.
Yeah. So, yeah. Going through,
like, if that's my base heart, like my baseline for like this rock bottom, like, well, okay, we can only go up. So I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, here we go. It's fine. Like, I'll move to Florida. I don't know anybody. I still only have one friend.
Hi. Hi, guys.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend.
Yeah. Well, we didn't really talk about him, but she's taken. So
he's like the first nice guy I've ever met.
I'm still waiting.
Amazing.
I was like, yo, you got any friends?
I was the president of the Man Haters Club like 7 months ago.
She was.
Like,
she was like,
don't look at me.
CEO,
president. Like,
I've taken that role though.
Yeah, but I told you this. I told you this for years. It takes one person to change your mind about a whole.
Ew.
It does. I'm telling you. Anybody
it does, but
like one person
to meet that person.
That one person. Like, think about all the dates we've been on. first dates galore. And I'm like, you know what? This seems so pointless and so defeating, but I'll just keep on because it literally takes one person.
It really does.
So for anybody that's man hating, this is like,
I mean, we've hated on men, but you know what? At the end of the day, you know,
but there's still things you got to say because you're like a hopeless romantic too.
I am.
Like the meaner the girl, the softer she is on the inside. You just got to like peel those layers back.
Hey guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's worth it. Like there's things that men do that girls just can't do. Like lots and lots of things.
I can't change a tire.
Yeah, no, I can't.
And I can't do any like construction work.
Yeah, but you ever see like a man do like a manly thing? It's like, oof.
It's like that guy on TikTok. He cuts the wood, and I'm like, ooh.
I don't have TikTok. I took a personal pledge, no TikTok.
I send her the TikTok. She watches them.
Yeah, but I will not make an account.
She won't download it, but I'll send you the video. There's this guy who does like this manly thing of cutting wood, and it's just like, whoa.
Like whatever it is about that. It's like this.
It's just like masculinity.
This primitive like. That's what you're supposed to be doing. I guess that's how guys feel like you're cooking.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I know. When I go on like live, sometimes people are like, go make a sandwich. And I'm like, you really want me to cook, bro?
Go make a sandwich.
Go make a sandwich. And I'm like, hey,
oh my God.
For myself.
What is wrong with people?
There's a lot wrong with this world's crazy, but there's a lot of great people in this world. There's a lot of good gems. I may be like a little pessimistic at times and pessimistic about love and dating.
I'm like glass half full now, but I was way worse.
I'm still a little pessimistic, but
it just takes one.
At the end of the day, I still believe in true love. I don't think it's that glamorous.
So that's what sucks about getting older. It's like I used to think like rainbows and butterflies and all these wonderful things. And now it's like my dad always says that his girlfriend says, I want to find someone that I can't live without. My dad's like, I just want to find someone I can live with. Like that's the reality of it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the scale that keeps the balance.
Yeah.
But well, I'm just okay. We're gonna wrap things up because I am a little hungry and I see a lot of people walking around.
Yeah, they're
all staring at us. But I'm so glad to have you on. And this was kind of just like a
whimsical, like last minute,
like get together kind of thing. And I want to have Brittany on the pod. We'll definitely have you on the pod again.
All my words of wisdom.
Yeah, we'll bring words of wisdom because I know you guys are gonna love this. But follow Brittany P. Thornton on Instagram if y'all have commercial real estate needs. You know where to find your girl.
Properties that works too. Either one. BPT properties.
BPT properties. If you have any commercial real estate needs in the state of Florida, hit her up. If you want to talk about heart transplant, like if someone hits you up on the DM about that, she'll answer questions.
Really anything. I'll answer anything except for we
not the Illuminati sugar daddy.
No sugar daddies and no feet pick inquiries, please.
No feet pick. I mean, I've sold a feet pick or two, but I don't know why people want bunion photos. But it is what it is. All right. Enough of this. We're going to go eat some sushi. Thanks for tuning in, listening, watching on YouTube. You can now listen on Apple Podcasts. You can listen on Spotify. You can listen on Amazon Music. You can watch us on YouTube. We'll be on more platforms soon. We have this lady waving at us. I'm going to wave to her. Bye, guys. I appreciate you. Like, subscribe, comment. Love you guys.